Welcome to Around the Weird. Here's your host, the museum curator of the strange and unusual, Mr. Nothing.
Thank you, mysterious voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I have found in my travels. Today it is Poetry Thursday, so I wanted to talk about some poetry of interest. And today's poem is all about remembering someone who has long since died. I am referring to a Dead Lover by Louise Bogan. For those who don't know, Louise Bogan is a poetry and poetry critic who lived between the end of the 1800s and the late 1900s. She was known for following a sort of new critical style, where she didn't necessarily follow the likes of T.S. Eliot. She kind of forged a more traditional path along with some other poets, and her poetry did have a flair for touching on feminist issues or even mythological sort of issues. That's pretty much all I know about this writer. They are very well regarded, but this is my first time encountering their work. And so without further ado, let's talk about this poem. I will read it, do a little bit of analysis, and we will move on from there. To a Dead Lover. The dark is thrown back from the brightness like hair cast over a shoulder. I am alone. 4 years older, like the chairs in the walls which I once watched brighten with you beside me. I was to waken never like this, whatever came or was taken. The stalk grows, the year beats on the wind. Apples come in the month for their fall. The bark spreads, the roots tighten, though today be the last or tomorrow all, you will not mind. That I may not remember does not matter. I shall not be with you again. What we knew even now must scatter and be ruined, and blow like dust in the rain. You have been dead a long season and have less than desire, who were lover with lover, and I have life, that old reason, to wait for what comes, to leave what is over. In terms of analysis, that was to a Dead Lover. In terms of talking about this poem, in terms of narrative, it's pretty simple. A person is just remembering someone that they once loved, but now knowing that time passes and they will soon forget, or they must soon move on from these memories. So a lot of the poem is contrasting the love you had for someone, the fact that they are a great memory, with the fact that eventually you have to, as I said, move on. And so you see that early in the poem where the narrator says, 4 years older, like the chairs in the walls which I once watched brighten with you beside me. I was to waken never like this, whatever came or was taken. And so there you see the narrator kind of highlighting how this person was important, this person was important at one point, but now they're alone. As the narrator notes, like, time goes on. So specifically, they say the stalk grows, the year beats on the wind. Apples come in the month for their fall. The barks spread, the roots tighten. Though today be the last, or tomorrow all, you will not mind. Again, because they're dead, but also highlighting how seasons change, how time marches forth, and you can't just be hanging around on these memories forever. Like you see you see them especially say that in the third verse, where they say, that I may not remember does not matter. I shall not be with you again. What we knew even now must scatter and be ruined and blow like dust in the rain. And so you see them kind of getting to the point where, like, I love you, I remember you, we had memories together, but eventually things must go on. I can't be stuck in this mindset forever. And they even say, you have been dead a long season and have less than desire, who were lover with lover. And I have life, the old reason, to wait for what comes, to leave what is over. Which is a very fascinating line. I have life, that old reason, to wait for what comes, to be there for the future, to leave what is over. to move on from past moments in your life. It's you might think it's kind of harsh to say that too, because you're just saying, yeah, I don't have time for this anymore. But it could be the case that the narrator has dwelled on these memories for quite a while and has been grief stricken, or is trying to move on, that and not be sort of stuck in that moment of what they once had and possibly hope for better things in the future. This is very fascinating to me in particular because like it says, it's a poem to a dead lover. It's about someone you loved once but no longer do because they're dead. They're no longer in your life. But I feel like it could apply to many aspects of your life, many places in your life where you love someone, but they've died and you have to move on with that. My dad died a couple of years ago, and I've kind of been thinking about that, but I've also been thinking about how selfish it is, or how it kind of feels selfish to think that. Like, how long do you mourn someone? How long do you go on remembering somebody? There has to be a point where you just maintain those memories rather than dwelling in the past. I don't really know what the answer to that is. I think that's part of the human condition of how we go about remembering people, and it can be somewhat difficult. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is certainly something worthy of discussion, and I think because of how ambiguous Bogan leaves it, like how she doesn't give an answer for what is right here, but merely suggests that it might be time to move on. I think that leaves a lot of room for sort of discussion, for sort of contemplation about this poem. Anyway, those are my thoughts on To a Dead Lover by Louise Bogan. A pretty interesting poem, although I will admit that perhaps I don't understand every aspect of it. Bogan's writing in particular can be kind of jarring at times, and she doesn't directly write about the subject that she's speaking about. She kind of talks in vagaries, I want to say, or indirectly addresses it in some ways, so it can be hard to fully understand. I think this is one of the more simpler poems she writes, but I do find her writing to be interesting and worthy of discussion here. If you have any thoughts about it, let me know in the comments below. As I mentioned before, would love to have a discussion with you about this. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find out about this poet or this poem if they don't already know. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and remembrance of dead people, dead friends, dead associates of the past travels. Farewell.